Hi. In this video, we're going to talk about the chart of accounts. So we have previously created a new association called Breezes, and we copied that information from Ztest. So now we want to take a look at how do we tweak or make small changes or any kind of changes to the chart of accounts for this new association. You can get to the chart of accounts several different ways. You can either, from the association GL page, you can either click the Manage COA link, or you can get to it by accounting menu and then financial and then chart of accounts. So either way, I'm going to select this since I'm already here. I click on chart of accounts. It already has Breezes in the association dropdown. That's because it's alphabetical, and this happened to be the very first one. But you would then select the association that you wanted to look at, click search, and that's going to display this page with the results of that particular association. So on this one, you can see that we have a number of categories. For example, you got assets, liabilities, equity, revenue, and expense. Those are the main accounting categories. And here we're giving you some sample numbering ranges. This is just some best practices, but you don't have to use these. And also, the numbering scheme doesn't have to be just 4 digits. I believe it's up to like 8, or maybe I think it's even 10 digits you can go out to. So this is just some recommended numbering schemes. So when you are going out, it's easy to remember. All 1000s or anything chart of account that, or GL account that starts with a 1 would be an asset. So within these, you can rename assets. So if you don't want it to be called assets, you can rename it to be something else. And that's at this first nesting level right here. So I just click the arrow and that'll expand that particular level. So within that, I've got one grouping called assets. So within assets, I would have a number of GL accounts. So at this point, we can do a number of things. We can either add additional GL accounts, we can edit an existing GL account, or we can create these additional roll-up levels or subgroupings and then move those GL accounts in there. So let's do that first. Let's go ahead and create a sub-level underneath assets that would have just our bank accounts, for example. And what that's going to do is on the balance sheet, it's going to show you a list of your assets. It'll have a subgroup header called bank accounts, list all the GL accounts that are bank accounts in there, and then have a subtotal of all the bank accounts. So to add that level, we're going to simply right click on the current level. It gives us a menu, and we're going to add a level. So I click add level, and I'm just going to give it a name. And we said we're going to call it bank accounts. Bank accounts. And I'm going to hit save. So now underneath assets, I have this group called bank accounts. And let's create another level called other assets. So I'm going to add another level called other assets. So what we're going to do now, I've got 2 roll-up levels. I'm going to move my bank accounts into the bank accounts, and everything else we're going to move into the other assets. So you can just click one and you can highlight multiple. I selected the first one. I'm going to press Shift and go down to the last one that I want to include. That highlights all of them. Then I can just drag and drop it right in there. So I'm going to drag any one of these blue ones. I'm going to drag it right into bank accounts. And now we've just put all of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 GL accounts within this one level. And we could do the same thing here for the other assets as well. So I can select that one. I can go all the way to the bottom. I can then press Shift again, select all of them. And then here I can just drag all these into the other assets. So now within assets on your balance sheet, you're going to have 2 main levels. One's called bank accounts. That's going to consist of those with a subtotal. And then you'll have another level called other assets consisting of these accounts again with a subtotal at the end. So by doing that, you can create any number of nesting levels. So within bank accounts, you can have another one that maybe said operating or reserve or insurance funds, for example. So you can create as many levels as you want, and then you can just drag and drop them in there. Now within a level, the numbers are used for sorting purposes. So they will sort by number once you're within a level. But the levels themselves don't have to have numbers on them. They're ordered based on the order that they appear in this list. So if you wanted to move other assets above bank accounts, you would just drag and drop it. Again, you would just drag other assets and then move it up. And then now you would show other assets on your balance sheet first, followed by the bank accounts. Not sure why you would do that, but you can. So you can drag and drop the levels to move them around. Okay, so now in terms of adding or editing a GL account, again, it's really simple. Wherever you want to put it, if I want to add a new GL account within bank accounts, I would right-click this level. If I want to add something to other assets, I would right-click this level. So if I wanted to add another bank account, I would right-click it and say Add Account. Comes up with a nice little page. I want to add, figure out which number I want to use. Let's put another secondary checking account, maybe a petty cash account in there at 12,500. So we'll put 12,500 and we'll call it petty cash. And what fund is it? That's going to be an operating fund. This fund dropdown is going to be operating reserve or other. Plus, it would also be any additional funds that you've previously set up for this particular association. So UManage supports unlimited funds. But right now, it's just showing the 3 system funds. So we're going to say this is an operating fund. Just hit save, and now we've got a petty cash account in there. Editing an account works very similarly. You just right-click it, and now you've got an edit account option. I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to change it from 12,500 to 12,550. You just make the edit, click save, and that's all you do. If for whatever reason you wanted to move this down to other assets, again, simply drag and drop. You just drag it down to other assets, drop it in, and it's as simple as that. The last thing you saw here when I did the right click, if I wanted to remove a particular item, I can right click it and I can just click delete. Now you're only able to delete GL accounts that don't have transactions on them. So if you no longer want to use a particular GL account and it has historical transactions, you won't be able to delete it. But what you can do is inactivate it. So in that case, you would simply edit the account and then click the inactive box right here. And what that does, that's going to take that particular GL account away from any future transactions. So it still exists for historical transactions, but anything new going forward from this point forward, that won't be an available option anymore. So that concludes this topic. Thank you.